got something to show the boys and girls, right? Remember, we've been talking about Sally the cow, all right? Well, we'll get her back out of her special little place. Here she's here, all right? Now, remember what we have said, all right? Let's think of these few thoughts and we'll do a quick recap. Remember, we said there's 27 references in the Bible to the word cow. 20 of them have the old spelling of Cain, K-I-N-E, and 7 have got C-O-W. That's 27 references, and the Bible has a lot to say about them. And here's one of the references in 1 Samuel chapter 6, and it says this: "And the men did so, and took 2 milk kine, tied them to the cart, and shut up their calves at home." So we're going to think about milk cow in a little moment. We talked about the breed of the cow, and we said there was 34 different breeds of milk cows in the United Kingdom. And whether they're all different sizes and different shapes and different colours, they've all got one thing in common: they are cows. Cows are an animal made and designed by God. And remember, you too are made and designed by God, and you've been made in God's image. We also thought about the birth of the cow, and we talked about the handbook that the farmer uses, and he records all the details about the birth of the cow. And God is the book of life, and he has recorded your details in that book. And of course, there's the Lamb's book of life, and you need to make sure that your name is also in the Lamb's book of life. We talked about the bleating of the cow, and remember, here's a picture in Beth Shemesh, where the Ark of God has been captured by the Philistines, and they want to send it back because a lot of things have happened in their land because of the Ark of the Covenant, and they put it on a cart, the wrong way to send it forth, but they put it on a cart. They put in some golden mice along with it. They get 2 milk cows hitched up to this cart, and these milk cows go all the way bleating and lowing, making a racket until they reach Beth Shemesh in the land of Israel. Then we talked about the behavior of the cows. I told you that cows, of course, can be silly. If you leave a gate open, they'll go out through it. If you don't put a string up, they'll go out through it. If there's a hole in the hedge, you can be sure that they will go out through it. And of course, we are silly as well, unaware of our danger, unaware of our lost condition. Cows at times can be sensible. If there's a very bad storm coming, you'll see them lying at the root of the hedge for shelter, or they're all gathered around the gate and they'll make a loud noise and they'll want to get into the safety and protection of the cow shed. We talked about cows being submissive as well. And of course, for farmers who take cows to special shows, they have to use a halter, putting it around its ears and its nose just to control the animal. And in that way, the animal is being submissive. And when we're joined to God and God's salvation through faith in Christ, then we become submissive unto God, acknowledging him to be our master as well as controller. Now, I want to think of one final thing about the cow. Okay, so we've learned about the breed, the birth, we've learned about the bleating, we've learned about the behavior. But here's one special thing, young people, boys and girls. What is the benefit of having cows? What do cows give us? Well, let me bring some things out of the bag. All right? Milk. I'm sure you all love milk. Well, where does milk come from? It comes from cows. And cows, of course, can give lots of milk. I know some cows in Ferndale that could give maybe up to 60, 70 litres of milk a day. So could you imagine if I lined up the pulpit with 60 or 70 of these 1 litre things of milk? You would say, wow, that's a lot. And I'm telling you, Sally the cow has produced that. But not only do we get milk, but there's another thing that the cow gives us, and that's meat. Now, I wanted to bring some steak this morning and show you it, but I wasn't allowed in case it would go off in the 2 hours that we're in church. But be assured that cows also give us meat. But there's another thing that cows give us, and I'll tell you what it is. Oh, there's the meat there. Oh, thank you, Charlene. Okay, just so we get this in camera. Oh, right, this is Armstrong's Finest beef burgers. And of course, you'll get some of these if you ever go to McDonald's. Another thing cows give us, and I've took my belt off, is leather. Where does leather come from? Well, it comes from the cow. All right? So I want you to think of that as well. I've got something else in the bag. Right? This is something else that comes from the cow. Cheese. How many children love cheese? Dairy Lee cheese. Sure, that's a favourite of all boys and girls. Well, it comes from the cow. All right? And how many people love cream? Because remember, this is a byproduct of the milk. And here's some cream in a can that you can put onto your jelly or put onto your apple tart. All right? Now, isn't that interesting? But also, cows provide glue. Do you know that cows provide glue? The hoofs of the cow are very hard, and they discovered if they boil them down, it turns into a gluey liquid. And that was how they developed and discovered glue. And you see the very horns of the cow that they cut off, they're used to make handles for walking sticks and other ornaments, etc. So all of these things, do you think of this here? Whether it's milk, or whether it's meat, cheese, cream, glue, leather, all of these things come from the cow. And that makes the cow very, very special, doesn't it? And I was thinking, the psalmist said, he, that's speaking of God, daily loads us with benefits. And our God looks upon us as very special creatures. And he benefits us with many, many wonderful things. Health and strength. He benefits us with breath. He benefits us with putting us into a family. He benefits us with a church and a Bible. But most of all, he benefits us because he gave us his Son. Because in Jesus Christ, there's many wonderful spiritual blessings. I wonder this morning, are you in Christ? And if you realized how good God is, if God gave us this special animal, the cow, with all of these unique benefits coming from it, then what a wonderful God we have.